Hey there, guys. We've got a message from the producer on the global version. I think it came out yesterday, if I'm remembering correctly. And a few people have said, what are your thoughts on the message from the producer? All that kind of fun stuff. So I decided for this one, we're going to take a look at the video, discuss it, and I wanted to bring a guest on to discuss it with me. So we've got Gerrtt with us as well. So you can go ahead and just say hello, Gerrtt.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Glad to be here and talk about some stuff here. I feel like we end up talking about things a lot when there's like drama or like a producer note or something. Like there was a time where we talked about like a huge change in DV where the scores like super inflated all of a sudden, and like I don't know. I feel like we end up talking about this kind of stuff. So I'm glad to be here.
For sure. I wish we had, exciting content and stuff to discuss, but as people have made jokes about in Discord, Reddit, etc., this seems to be the global content these days, is this kind of
Mm.
stuff.
Yeah, lately there has been a lot of it, so here we are.
So producer Hiroki Fujimoto has prepared a message to address the community's concerns regarding the state of the game. You can watch the video on their official stuff, which we're going to do during this video. But before we really get into it, I will just say, as a spoiler, I'm sure most people at this point have seen the video, but they don't really say a whole lot specifically. It's more of like, we know there's a problem. Okay, what do you think of this like approach, Gerrtt? Is like, should they have just not bothered? Should they have? Obviously, they should have said more. At least, in I'm sure most people's opinion, they should have said more specifics. But I guess the question is, do you feel that a video just saying we're aware of a problem, even though nothing's going to change, should they have done that? Did it make it worse? Like, what are your just overall thoughts on them doing this?
For me, it's six in one hand and six in the other, right? So like I love that they are actually putting out a note. I love that they are putting out a video that they're saying, "Hey, elephant in the room. There's some stuff going on, and we're aware that there's problems." But I don't love the other half of it. I don't love part of what we're going to talk about here in just a second. I'm guessing. Um, and but I am really glad that they are at least making an effort at telling us like, hey, here it is. We at least hear that you are that the vast majority of your complaining. There's a part that I really like. Well, I don't want to spoil what part I really like, but there's things I like and there's things that I don't like about it.
Yeah, for me too. I even though not really much was said in specifics, I'm still glad they said something because at least
Mm-hmm.
it shows they're aware that there's something of a problem. So I'm glad something was said, even if I wish more was said. So let's look at the video itself. So it's a relatively short video. We're gonna have the subtitles turned on as well, so people can follow along. I'm gonna pause it frequently during the video as we cover point by point. It's a really short video, so we're gonna probably watch the whole thing. So here we go.
Hello everyone,
Just introduction
I'm
for now.
Gerrtt. I'm the producer of Final Fantasy Brave Express Global Version. Thank you for always playing FFBE. The reason I'm shooting this video today is to deliver a message to you, our players. We have received and read your recent feedback and opinions regarding FFBE. Since its launch in June 2016, we have been continuously developing and running the game to ensure that you always enjoy it to the fullest. However, our long run has brought many changes to our team environment, resulting in the gradual decline of resources of development.
All right, so I'm gonna pause right there. So basically, they're saying that the budget has been cut. This is the short version. Like, the game doesn't have the same operating budget to hire developers, outsource translations, however they do it. And he's kind of saying that's the reason that the game, to just put it bluntly, has gone downhill pretty harshly in the last 6 months. Um, it's really hard to talk specifically about this kind of stuff because it's going to be heavily based on speculation. All he's said is they have less of a budget
Mm-hmm.
as far as
Changes to the development environment, basically.
So, And of course, people in Discord frequently speculate that the reason for that they have a reduced thing. People will say that they mismanaged the game, they screwed up the marketing. There's 1,000 different speculations about the cause of it. Do you have any of like your favorite, conspiracy theories about why the game has gone downhill, Gerrt?
Well, probably one of the most ridiculous ones has to do with the great Facebook debacle of 2023, where they accidentally sent out the multiple compensations. People used to speculate that like because someone who was on their way out probably did that on purpose, that like that ended up costing them a bunch of ability to gain revenue, which I think is absurd. Like people who were going to spend regardless of whether or not they ended up with an extra 40,000 lapis. Like I think that's really silly. It's too hard to not nail this all down to one specific incident. Now it's hard to ignore that like immediately after that incident is when we stopped getting events. That incident is when we stopped getting we saw a drastic decrease in the amount of lapis given out during events, and they even said in the news and the bulletins about it that they were going to be adjusting based on that. But like that is hard to ignore. But I don't think that that's the root cause of it.
For me, I think it started about a year ago, and someone said in Discord it seemed to have started from the very first Neo cut, which was Cater. And then from Cater, it seems like little bitty pieces were starting to be missing from what we would expect. Like Cater was the first really big red flag when they skipped her for really no reason. And then we'd have like a missing crown event one week. Then all of a sudden we'd be missing 2 crown events. Then an EX stage was missing. And then like we skipped a whole story event. And then it's just like the skips became bigger and bigger and bigger, and because it was a gradual, slow increase of the skips, a lot of people would be like, to be blunt about it, they were kind of like white knighting, saying, "Oh, it's no big deal. It's just Cater. No one cares. If nothing matters, it's just one thing." And then like we skipped crown stages. People were like, "Oh, it's an old unit. Didn't matter." But it kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then, like as you said, 4 months ago, the Facebook thing, that kind of like put it into overdrive, where in an effort to like make up for the extra lapis they sent out and all the resources, they started cutting like everything. And I guess they figured they'd do that for like a month and a half, and then we'd be back to like a net balance point.
But we never bounced back.
Exactly. So
it went the other direction.
Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe when they did those huge cuts for like a month and a half, people were like, well, forget this, and just walked away. And therefore that caused like a permanent drop in income and resources. And then that's kind of where we got to here. And again, that is all speculation. The only person,
very much so,
that could tell us exactly the reason is the one right here on screen, and of course the rest of the team. But all we can do is speculate. So there's just a few wild theories. You can let us know in the comments your favorite reason for why has the game gone downhill and what started it all. But let's go ahead and continue the video.
We are aware that currently we are not delivering the same level of enjoyment as we did before. My sincerest apologies to all FFB players who are always looking forward to new playing experience within the game.
So I'm going to pause it right there as well. So he says that we know that we haven't been delivering the same enjoyable experience. Now in terms of like, banner structure, pricing, even brand new events and stuff, that I understand, and I can imagine will take developer time and maybe a lot of developer time, depending on what it is, especially like new units and stuff. But for me, and this, again, like a little bit of a broken record, I feel like some of the stuff they skip, it just feels like such low-hanging fruit for them to do that could increase player enjoyment, like the unit upgrades and stuff, because, I've said it before, like that kind of stuff is already in the data. We've seen it accidentally get applied when they just take a step back and do nothing and copy over JP content. But that kind of stuff to not be added, I don't understand why that happens? Do you like have any speculation about why they would just stop adding these upgrades entirely, Gerrtt?
I mean, the only thing to me, it screams we're trying to sell you something else, and it has always felt like we're trying to sell you something else, so that you know, the classic example for all of us, right, is Bart's Cater Malphasing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like we didn't get the Bart's upgrades, we didn't get Cater at all, but then we got Malphasing, who kind of did the same thing, and now here we are most recently with like the Roos, Nelica, Chaos Bismarck, and now we've got like Celeste, Zon, like these like mishmash units that are kind of the same thing, but we're going to sell you something else instead. And it's just, to me, that always seems like that's where it is they're just trying to make money somewhere. But like, I don't know, wouldn't people buy the unit anyway? Like if they're looking for the skill or the kit, wouldn't they go after that instead of like? It's hard to say. Hard to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's kind of how I feel too. It does feel like very often it on its face seems like they're skipping tons of the old unit upgrades because of a fear that we're not going to pull the brand new shiny meta version. I think the most original version, or the most original example I can remember, is all the way back to either the first or the second year. Who remembers Ramza, and where's Ramza's enhancements?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they delayed that for like 9 months. They even said in
long.
Da Sol back in the day said in a live stream that Ramza is still like getting his tuning upgrades or something in a live stream video. People were so asking for where it was because it was a free upgrade that was just strong. And that example has carried over into many, many other things like the Edge crowns. Because there was some other, because Angeal was coming very soon, then we never get it. But the issue is that leaves like a bad taste in players' mouths, because even if their favorite unit wasn't going to be meta, it could have been a budget alternative, and it was their favorite unit. And them skipping it it makes players unhappy. Unhappy players don't spend, they leave, and it causes a snowball effect.
And it's also, to me, really fun and rewarding to have like collected units over time, and then all of a sudden be able to like get a little bit of life out of them, even if for like a month or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I just watched it today. Your JP Dark Visions video with Axstar being the strongest unit in the game.
It's so
just
insane.
As an example, like it's like he's been such a troll for so long, and now he's doing 4 times the damage of like brand new units because of just like combinations of interesting stuff. And I think that's a lot of fun and doesn't necessarily prevent you from buying anything, because in order to really turn that up to 11, you got to have the new support units for it anyway. So it's just like, I don't know, can't you just do both?
Exactly, and
why can't we have both?
And it makes players so happy because they get so excited, like this old unit is good again. And it I swear, I would think that makes them more incentivized to pull the new unit to make this big piece of the puzzle come together. Because Axstar is nowhere near as good as he is without the external support, which are almost exclusively new units.
Right.
And yeah, that kind of stuff. It's we're gonna go to the grave on global at some day, and I will still be bitter that they've skipped so many of my favorite unit upgrades like Bart's. I'll be saying that until the day they turn the lights out.
Yep.
All right, let's continue the video.
The team is still working to bring you the best we can with weekly game updates so that you continue to enjoy our game. However, in the current state, we are unable to implement all of your feedback, and we are very sorry. We appreciate your understanding in the matter.
So that's basically just saying, in a roundabout way, it's probably not going to get better, at least not in the near future, right?
That is exactly how I interpret it. How I interpret it is we want to try to put out weekly content, which is kind of a joke in and of itself, right? It's really bi-weekly at this point, unless you consider banners content. But like if that decision is because of the changes in the environment, which can't really get better, we can't do anything about, then this is just going to be the way it is.
Yeah.
If not decreasing further, because that has been the pattern over the past year.
Pretty much, yeah. When I saw this video, people pinged me on Discord. Oh, a new video's out. I hadn't seen it yet. When I opened the video and as I was starting to watch it, I figured there was going to be one of two things happening in this video. It was going to either be, we're sorry, the game is closing, or we're finally going to start improving. I was really not expecting the middle of the line to where, like, we're not improving, but we're going to continue exactly as is, which is really under par. But, yep. All right, let's continue.
The good news is that at the end of June, the game will finally celebrate the 8th anniversary. We believe that this was not achievable without you, our valuable players. As a token of our gratitude, we are preparing the variety of content to celebrate that anniversary.
All right, so that basically says that, we're going to get the anniversary at the end of the month. It usually carries over into June, sometimes August. And there's going to be some content to enjoy during the anniversary. So I don't know, like it's hard to get excited about it because of what the game is right now. But do you think they're talking about something? Because in previous anniversaries, it's oftentimes been something really revolutionary, like Clash of Wills or Chamber of Vengeance, or something like really big was introduced. I just feel like that's probably not going to happen this year. It's going to be like, at best, a story event, a new unit, and yeah, maybe like the 16 Vision World or something.
Maybe, like, it's just hard to imagine at this point with them being able to do so little, them doing something that's going to be really innovative. Like, will there be content? Sure. Like, is that just going to be like a farming event? Dare I say it, an EX stage or an ability to farm a cool piece of gear for the new unit? Like, maybe that feels like a stretch. But I can't see it being any more than the story the event that they're kind of pitching here. And having that be, vaguely tied to Clash of Wills, like how last year's, the villain in the Rick story event was the Clash of Wills boss. It's like, I could see that, but I can't see them introducing something wildly new and interesting at this point.
Yep. All right, let's continue.
Just as a sneak peek, we have our team working hard on new unit that may surprise you, and a new story event. We hope you will enjoy it.
So a new unit that may surprise us. Are you thinking it's going to be something like unique? For example, Kaito had the deep manipulation, Zahn had the buff sharing, some kind of like unique effect? Or do you think new unit that may surprise you, as in it's just going to be like a big power jump and make people feel, the fear of missing out if they don't pull it?
I hope that since they're pitching the idea of it surprising, that it is one, not going to be something that we voted for, but still something that people would be excited about, or something that is like really interesting and valuable and useful. So like, even if it is like at this point, we're still missing the Wilhelm that they told us that they were going to give us, right? So like, maybe the obvious guess would be like, Wilhelm's going to be a tank and it's going to be better than other physical tanks that we've had. That'd be like the obvious, right? Or maybe they're going to turn him into some sort of a damage dealer, and that's going to be the surprise. Like, that would not be that interesting to me, because it's like, yay, more damage dealers that are in V pluses and whatever. Like, that's not super exciting. But if it's because, like, if it's surprising and interesting because it's outside the box and provides us with something that we've never had before but needed before, like a solution to a problem that like we've been dealing with for a while or whatever, then that would be really cool.
Now, I do have to give like a shout out to the people in Discord who always ask for this. Will the new Wilhelm that we're probably going to get hopefully soon, will it be the swimsuit Wilhelm that everyone keeps asking for?
Well, here's the thing though. They always give us those units in like November, right? The swimsuit units always come out in November because of the time zone seasonal differences. So probably not, since we're talking about June, right? June's going to be Eskimo bundled up with Wilhelm.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
So some people just on this video, I'm trying to like cover all the viewpoints that people have said in Discord. They're saying that it's, I don't want to be too negative, but they're saying like it's not very upfront of them to try to sell you a unit as the ship is sinking. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think like, is this out of place when the video is like, things are terrible, they're not going to get better, but hey, please buy this unit? Is that kind of out of place to advertise in this video? Like, what are your thoughts on them promoting a new sale during a kind of, unfortunate video?
I guess that depends on if that new unit is going to cost 90,000 lapis, right?
Oh, geez.
Because like if it's Zon increased a little bit more, because that's what they do, they increase just a little bit, then that would be bad. I mean, at this point, people who have been spending for the duration of the game have just plain stopped spending. And I think trying to buy people's goodwill back by saying, hey, here's a surprise cool unit, even though we're not going to do anything better, we're not going to give you any more content, we're not going to be giving improving the situation in any way, because we can't, but we can devote resources to selling you new units. Like that feels a little slap in the facey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Like it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, like the only thing that could possibly reverse course is like a massive upsurge in sales, which is probably not going to happen. Let's just be realistic here.
The amount of sales necessary to be able to hire a team of people would require a mass effort of like the entire global community.
Yeah.
And I just can't fathom what that unit would be that would make people want it. Not to mention that, you're like this. You have a big stockpile of lapis, right?
Yes.
So if they did put out a unit, you would just spend the stockpile of lapis that you have, not necessarily buy more lapis unless you absolutely had to. So I have less than you, but I also have a little nest egg, and like that would be my plan. It's always kind of been how I go, only really spending when I felt like good things were going on that I wanted to support and endorse. And I've definitely pulled my support when I felt like things were not going well. It's hard to say. Now, it's kind of funny that you bring that up, because I didn't really, when I first watched this, I didn't even pick up on that mindset. I just thought like they were trying to like maybe kind of build like a vague level of hype and excitement for like, please tune back in a couple of weeks and check this out. More so than like we're going to sell you this unit, but I guess I can see it that way.
Yeah, I certainly hope that's the intent, is to try to hype people up. I actually do have a decent chunk, about 260k of just savings. And I probably will just dump it on the anniversary unit as long as they're at least partially competent. But like the real question becomes, what if I didn't have that? Because in the past, when I've been low on lapis, I did spend. I'm definitely not a free-to-play player, or haven't been in the past. And I would grab a bundle, get some lapis, and I would get a unit if I really wanted it. Would I do that at the end of the month for a new unit if I didn't have that big bundle of savings? Honestly speaking, at this point in the game, I don't think I would. I think I would just miss out. It's too uncertain for me, because, and even if they had come in this video and said we're all going to turn it around, and we've heard that before so many times, it's happened a few times, a lot of times they did nothing, would I have trusted it? enough to, open the wallet, so to speak.
Sure.
I don't know. I just feel like at this point, it's so far gone. And I can't see, sales tripling to the point that the studios and the bosses can justify hiring new people, making new contracts. Like, it's not a small thing to go and hire someone. There's probably contracts involved and all that. So they would have to expect a long lifeline of the game in order to make that investment. And it just feels like it's too late.
Yeah. Well, let me spin you a little narrative here, right? So you and I have talked about this before, and people know that that I invested in my light team to get Stern, and then I went and got Bart to try and help build up that team. And then when they announced that we were going to be getting Pinello for free, I was like, hey, here's another option to kind of push that a little bit further, because my Prompto is on the EX1, and you can spend a little bit to get Pinello, closer to EX2 pretty easily, or spend a little bit more and definitely get her to EX2. And I'm like, 3 days ago, I was thinking, I dropped $25. Then this video came out, and I'm like, no, you can't have my $7 to buy the cheap bundle. Like, what's going to happen next week? What's going to happen next month? What if I need that $7 all of a sudden and I'm regretting it because Pinello's sitting there? Like, that's me, who would rather spend a little bit for something guaranteed than take a risk on just buying Lapis, not being willing to just shell out a little bit to make a free unit a little better.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and finish the rest of the video.
Again, we sincerely apologize that we are unable to implement all of the feedback we received from you. However, rest assured that we read all the feedback we receive, and we intended to address them wherever possible. We hope you continue to enjoy playing FFB, and thank you very much.
And that's pretty much it. And I will say also, in just defense of Hiroki and the rest of the team, even though he is the producer and he is pretty close to the top of the food chain, he absolutely has people above him that are making the final calls. So when people say it's all Hiroki's fault that the game went downhill, keep in mind he definitely has someone above him, and it's really not his final call at the end of the day. So just small defense of him, that it's not all his fault. It's a big big structure.
Well, and the praise for him too, I would say, is that he came out and did this. I would say it seemed pretty well practiced and prepared, and also in English. He could have very easily had a translator there or just used subtitles, but he's trying to reach out to people. And I know that English is not everybody's language, right? But he's reaching out to the global community in English, which is not his first language, one that he has been seen to struggle on, but is putting a lot of effort in to try and reach out in a language that most people would be able to grab onto. And so I think that's really good.
Yep, definitely. So it's appreciated that he made this video. So we've got about 3 weeks until the anniversary comes along. A lot of people have said, "Where's Tony? Where's Justin?" Because we didn't get anything for Zahn. Do you think the live streams are kind of done for global? Do you think we're going to see Tony and Justin for another stream in the future, Gerrtt? Just what's your guess on where Tony and Justin have gone?
Well, my guess, if I had to just purely speculate, was that they did, just from what we've seen, I think they intended to have a live stream, because they had all those slides that they put together. But the question just becomes well, if they had all those slides, why didn't we have one? And I have some theories on that. I don't know if any of them are correct, but I think that just being real about what I see when we have the live streams, chat has been so destructive and toxic during the live stream that it's probably hard with a straight face to put those videos on right now, with the state of how things are. Whether that's good or bad, I think that that's a contributing factor to as to like why do it, like why invest time and effort and resources into something that people are just going to like dump all over us during the entire thing.
Do you, do you think it'd be better if instead of a live stream, they just made a pre-recorded video and posted that?
I think that would be just as well. I mean, they do interact with chat on a really minimal basis, and I understand that they can't just have free reign to say and do whatever they want during chat. It's too much of a wild card, right? I think at least having the information would be valuable. To have had an opportunity, like as excited as people theoretically should have been about Zahn, right? He was a fan voted unit. He ended up having the utility for the most part that people wanted from him, not entirely for the most part. Like, why miss an opportunity to hype that up? There had to have been a good reason not to. And I don't know what that reason is, but like, if it's because of like people's behavior during the live stream, I would really hate that.
Yeah, my concern is that maybe they were, laid off or reassigned to a different project or something, and they're just not part of the Brave XDS team anymore. I don't know, so I'm just speculating here. I hope that we see them again for the future because I really like both Tony and Justin. I know the community can get a little bit harsh on them and kind of focus all the blame on, oh, they're not fixing all the problems in the game. And again, they are definitely have nothing to do with fixing the problems in the game. They are just community managers. But
yeah.
I personally like them, so I hope we see them in a future video, especially for the anniversary coming up.
Absolutely. I love the live streams. I like to get people together and be involved in the chat during them. I love talking with everybody afterwards. I like, yeah, I really enjoy the live streams, and I build time to make sure that my kids go to bed early enough so I can watch them. And I enjoy, even when we've poked a little fun at like how information is presented or like how things seem, I do enjoy the fact that they have that job of like being the face and representing the game and presenting us with information. They've gotten so much better over the past year too, like with them providing more information and more numbers. I missed it. Like I was thinking about it that we haven't had a live stream since Celeste came out.
Oh wow, it's been that long?
2 months ago. And this is we haven't had any information or like feedback or like visual representation from them until this video since Celeste came out. Which is just, it's weird to think about it because we've had some sort of live stream every month for the past 2 years.
Oh yeah, for sure. So hopefully we will get some more information on that in the coming weeks. We know there's not much going on until the anniversary because the Crest Pass lets us know what's coming. Next week is going to be probably an empty week, and then it's anniversary time. So let's hope for the best.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what next week's going to bring. Is it just going to be like are we going to get Yuna next week, or is it just going to be like something else that people are going to largely look at and be like, that's a trap banner, don't do it? Is it going to be like one of those vision card banners or what? Like, what's going to happen here between now and this 5-race boss?
Oh yeah, for real.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. So,
yeah.
All right. So I want to say thank you again for joining me, Gerrtt, to discuss the producer letter.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm glad we got a minute to sit down and talk.
All right. So see you guys for something next week. Later.